Hello everybody, this is Doug, the Grounds Supervisor here at Brethren Village, and today we're going to go over snow tips and how the grounds team removes snow around Brethren Village. First thing I'd like to talk about is weather conditions, because I kind of compare this to what the grounds team does during the year, which when we're mowing and doing our normal duties, everything's pretty much the same. You know, the grass grows every week, and we mow it and it rains, and then we do other items and stuff. But in the winter, there's so many different variables to weather conditions. We have snow that starts out as rain and turns to snow. We have storms that start out as snow and turn to rain. We have ice storms. Here in Lancaster County, we get a real array of different storms, and each storm has to be treated differently. And I think sometimes it seems like, well, why isn't something done a certain way every time? Mainly because of the conditions. So keep that in mind. Temperature has a big thing. So the type of moisture we get, and the temperature it is, and the temperature that it is after the storm makes a huge difference on how fast and how well the campus gets cleaned up. So just keep that in mind as the winter goes along, and watch how we'll have storms that come in, and it seems like it just comes in and it just all of a sudden just all disappears. And then we'll have the next storm that comes in, and it may be the same amount of snow, but it just seems like it's here. It takes forever to get some of the areas and stuff cleaned up. So just keep that in mind as the winter goes along. Okay, so what does Brethren Village snow removal team use to clear snow? Well, we have 5 plow trucks. One of the trucks is equipped with a salt spreader. We also have a backup salt spreader. We have 5 snow machines for sidewalks of varying sizes. Each snow machine for a sidewalk also has a spreader on to spread salt. We have a variety of different plows, mostly plows that extend wide and cup. We also have a V plow. So there's a wide range of snow removal equipment. Each one of the sidewalk machines will also have a blower, a rotary broom to clear sidewalks, and a plow. So we have multiple pieces of attachments that fit each machine that we have. So here again, I was talking about different weather conditions. So on the sidewalks, it depends on what kind of snow we have, will depend on what attachment we have on, and also what kind of ice melt we use. So there's a really big difference depending on the storm. It's not just one cookie cutter when it comes to sidewalk clearing. So we also have liquid brine, which we have for one of our gators. It's a tank. It's an 80-gallon tank with a boom on that will pre-treat sidewalks with. And we also do some pre-treating on the streets. Our truck over here has a V-box spreader on it. Has granular salt in it, and then it also has liquid salt, liquid brine. And the reason for that is we pre-treat the salt before it comes out onto the blacktop. So 1, it sticks better, so it's better environmentally, and 2, that it reacts quicker, so it's a faster result to the salt hitting the sidewalk, hitting the blacktop. We also will pre-treat with that, but we will treat with the salt and the brine mixture, not just straight brine, on our streets and parking lots before storms. Okay, so one of the big things that I'm sure most of, whether you're a resident or employee, you're wondering, why isn't someone here cleaning my snow? Okay, well, there is a priority that we work with, both on sidewalks and on parking lots and streets, for emergency purposes, and also for employee entranceways and different things. So the priority for parking lots and streets, first of all, we keep streets clear and we keep the entrances clear. We work on all employee lots, all the lots around healthcare. We also try and open up to each independent living apartment building at least a lot that has an entryway that emergency equipment can get into. And then we move on to all of the other parking lots around campus. We also do the HUD buildings around campus, Village Manor and Fairview Meadows. We do those. And then we move on to the last thing we clear is cottage driveways when it comes to street equipment. So that is the idea, that's the priority with the parking lots and streets. Sidewalks are very similar. We start with employee entrance sidewalks. We do egress sidewalks for emergency purposes. We also work up around where the bus stop is so employees can get down from the bus stop. We work around the chapel area, anywhere that employees would need to walk to get in. That's our first priority with emergency entrance and exits. Then we'll work on sidewalks that go from like the Welcome Center to Fieldcrest so employees can get from one building to the next. And then we work on personal entryways into apartments and other buildings. And finally, we end up doing the cottage sidewalks. That would be our last thing. So usually the cottage driveways are done before we do the cottage sidewalks. Here again, trying to keep entryways into into a building. So if it's a cottage, we try and make sure you can get in the driveway and then we get the sidewalk cleared. In a case of emergencies, we all have two-way radios. If we hear an ambulance or something coming on campus, we mobilize, get to those areas, make sure they're clear and that first responders can get in. That's always a priority if something like that happens around campus. We'll always mobilize and make sure that is taken care of. So when it's snowing, okay, we are trying to keep these areas clear for employees and entrances for emergency exit into buildings. It's also it's hard to keep after depending on how much it snows. As far as how long does it actually take to clear the campus, when it stops snowing, it takes about 8 to 12 hours for up to 6 inches of snow to be cleared from the campus. So here again, it depends on the type of snow, but if you figure it's 6 inches or less, it's usually 8 to 10 hours after it stops snowing that we can have the campus totally cleared and totally safe. If it's over 6 inches, it can vary. Depends on what type of snow, how heavy it is, and that type of, there's a lot of variables that go into once it gets over that. It can go into days till we get everything open depending on how much snow we have. Just to give you for instance, last winter we had a storm that snowed a couple inches and then it kind of let up and then it snowed a couple inches more. And then it did that several times throughout the day. I think it was over maybe a 6-hour period of time. We would get things cleared and then it would snow again a couple inches. In that storm, I run the truck that plows the streets and also salts. In that storm, I ran 90 miles just around campus, not leaving campus. So that can give you an idea of how much effort it takes that was just one piece of equipment running for one storm. So it can really vary from storm to storm. So, so just be patient. You know, it takes some time after it stops snowing. So for streets, salt that we use for streets is a dry granular salt that can be wet and run through the spreader. So this is very coarse. This is what we put on streets. We don't use any grit or anything. We use the salt for traction, mainly because of cleanup in the spring. It would be very difficult to clean up a lot of grit. For sidewalks, we use two different types of salt. So we use a magnesium, we call it mag. That is for most storms that are snow related. It also has a very low freeze point, so it's a very good product for most general snowstorms. And then we also use a blended product that has more rock salt, which is similar to what was on the street salt. This we use for more storms that would be rain related and ice related. The reason for that is the magnesium will quickly wash away in a rainstorm or ice storm. This has a little bit longer lasting time, so we get a little bit longer residual out of it. But ice storms are the most difficult. you just really, please be careful when we're dealing with an ice storm. It is so difficult to keep things from freezing when we have ice storms. Our goal is to keep it from adhering to the sidewalk so it can clean up easy, but just depends on how much rain we get and how cold it is. It's just very, very difficult to manage ice storms. So just whenever you know you have freezing rain, just please, please be careful. We also have salt stations around campus. We have these big yellow trash cans. This is for employee parking areas. So we are going to have them at Village Center near the south lot. They will be in the Terrace Crossings Village Manor parking lot. There will be one in the STR parking lot. There's also one over at the north lot by the courtyards. And there's also one down at the end entrance at Fieldcrest. And inside the trash can, there is salt. It'll be this product here. It'll be the blended product, and there'll be large coffee cups, basically, paper coffee cups. So one of the biggest issues we have when it comes to ice is between cars. So if there's a sign on the can that says, when blue, take ice melt with you. There's a temperature sensitive sign. When that turns blue, take a cup of ice melt with you in case between your car it's icy. That way, you won't fall between the car. It gives you some grip. And if it's not icy when you get there, just throw it out in the parking lot. It'll all help. And you can just take the cup and throw it away. You don't have to return anything that way. So trying to make it very convenient. This is primarily geared to an employee area, but also we have salt stations in every entrance of the building. And they're white boxes. They have a BV logo on the top, and if you open them up, you will see a 5-gallon bucket in there, and there will be a scoop inside the bucket, and there will be ice melt there that you can take and salt entranceways. So, we do our best to try and make things safe, but there's areas that we can't get to all the time. So if you happen to be at an entryway, please grab the scoop and salt outside the door so that everybody can be safe. Not that we're trying to get someone to do our job, but it's just all part of us pulling together as a team to help make the campus safer. So a couple things with clearing sidewalks, all right? We have different size machines. None of them are very small, okay? But they work well for sidewalks. Couple things you'll find. One of the thing is we have to clear sidewalks to doors. So one of the issues we run into is we have to back out of areas. So if you're walking and there's a snow removal machine in front of you, don't assume that they're going to know you're back there, and don't try and pass them. Allow them to get their job done. And when you see they're starting to back up, make sure they see you, and then you're going to have to step out of the way so they can back past you. There's very few sidewalks, especially when it's coming up to a door, that we can actually turn around and come out forward. It's very difficult to see in the machines. So just please make sure that you see that they see you, and that you know that they've signaled that they notice you're there before you try and get around them. It's just a really safety issue that we have, making sure that we know that you're there. Most of our sidewalks parking spaces pull up to sidewalks. One of our issues is our equipment sizes vary. So please make sure that you don't pull over the sidewalk so that we can get through with the machines. Because if we can't get through with the machine for the amount, we're doing over 7 miles of sidewalks on campus. We don't have, in order to do it well and efficient, we don't have time to get out and shovel those little spots. We need to keep moving. So then a section doesn't get cleared off till we get time to come back and clear it later when somebody moves. So just take a few minutes, and if you walk out of your car, and I know it might be snowing, and I know it might be cold, but if you can just stop and look at your car and say, oh wow, that looks a little close, and just back up a little bit, it will just expedite what we do around campus. We are really here to help get the campus safe. I mean, that is our main priority over the winter. So anything you can do to help us, that would be great. So the other thing we do is parking lots, okay? So one of the big things with parking lots is you need a place to park your car, okay? So what we want to do is when we're in a parking lot clearing, we try and open as many spots that are empty as we can. That way, when you're coming into work, please try and park in a spot that's been cleared and salted, all right? That way you can get out safely, and then we have time to come back and get the other spaces. We are continually circling campus and trying to clear as many spots as we can. And if if you're an employee, that's really important, because if you drive on a snowy spot that hasn't been cleared, that later will become ice, and then the next person has a better chance of falling. For residents, if you can, when we're in a lot clearing, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to clear as many spots as we can so that there's an open spot for you to move your car so that we can then clear your spot. But please, just be patient. Don't rush out when you see a truck there. Let us clear everything. We are here on campus throughout the storm. We're here days later. If you need your spot cleared, take your time. Rushing is usually when we have people falling. Whether you're employee or resident, take your time, walk slowly, make sure you're on good footing, and then you can go out, clear your car, move it, and we'll come back around. The other thing to remember is if a plow truck is clearing a lot, even with pre-treating, the most dangerous time is after it was first plowed, before the salt truck gets there, because that's generally when it freezes. The thin layer of snow or slush can easily freeze if the temperature is well below freezing. So don't rush into a lot that looks like it's clear, but it doesn't look wet, because if it's not wet, then it hasn't been salted. That's a very dangerous time to be in a parking lot. So be very careful walking in plowed parking lots, making sure that they are salted before you're actually out there doing a lot of work around your car. We will try and throw as much salt underneath cars as we can, but it's also a very difficult place for us to get salt. So the salt spreader does a pretty good job at bouncing it underneath your car and helping to try and cut down any icing. I'm usually the one salting the parking lot, so I'm coming through as quickly as I can, but I'm one truck with 4 other trucks clearing. So it's very, they can get ahead of me. So just be very careful when you're walking in parking lots. Okay, so one of the things that I realize in this world today is technology changes all the time. How many times has your phone changed? How many iPhones are there out there now? I don't even know. I lost count on numbers. One of the things I'm realizing is footwear does the same thing. There are technology in footwear for winter. This is a pair of boots I happened to find this year. They are more like a shoe, but they're a boot. They actually have, from Michelin Tire Company, they have an ice grip technology on the soles. And I was amazed. I put these on. I was in the store. It was carpeted, and they actually really grip just on the carpet. So it's almost like some type of tire technology that you would get for like snow tires or something like that. So I encourage you, if you have to get out in the snow, spend some time and find some quality winter footwear. This will save slips and falls more than anything, is having proper footwear. Smooth-soled shoes, leather-soled shoes, anything that's hard, that has a hard sole to it, just is not a good shoe for winter. So I would encourage everybody, if you got to get out in the winter to either get to work or to go places, please look at good footwear. It will save you from having issues, having broken bones, having just things that you don't want to deal with over the winter. So encourage you to look for good quality footwear. So who makes up the snow team? Okay, what I call the snow removal team. Well, everyone on grounds is part of the snow removal team, but we have more equipment and more area to cover. So we also have some of the facility team members also help. So you got to remember that everybody that's helping clear snow actually has other responsibilities here on campus. They are pushing those responsibilities back in order to help remove snow. So I'm thankful for everybody on the team and for all they do. I just want you to be aware of who they are, and that that they are just. We're not just, we have other responsibilities around campus also, and we're all here to try and work together as a team to make the campus safe. So what happens if you have an emergency? Well, during a snowstorm, if you ever have an emergency, obviously call BV Security. They are the ones that will be the contact person for any kind of emergency. The grounds team is here to help in anything we can do. But obviously when we're clearing snow, if you have personal needs that are not emergencies, those are just things that we have to get later on, which we're here days after storms. We're not here to storm and then we don't come back. So we're around. We'll try and help everybody with whatever your needs are. If it's during the day and you have a specific need, for instance, if it's a deep snow and you need to get out of your cottage, that's just an example, and you need to be out by a certain time. If it's during the regular business hours during the week, you can get a hold of Laura at the facility building and she'll contact us using work hubs and different types of communications. When we're plowing, we will not be monitoring that as well. So, make sure you get a hold of somebody and actually talk to them if you have a specific need, so that can get relayed to the grounds team. We're here to help everybody have a safe winter. That's our goal. Obviously, it's any day of the night, so if it's the middle of the night and you hear us blowing snow or something like that, just know that we are here to help clear the campus out, to make it safe for you. Whatever it takes, we're here to make it happen. I appreciate everybody here on campus. I hope you have a healthy and happy, safe winter.